Hello everyone, and welcome to this conversation with the most amazing Elle Wilson. Hello Elle, how are you going?
Hello Karen, thank you so much. That's a beautiful introduction.
Well, you're a beautiful
amazing.
person.
That's like, whoa, Karen McDermott.
Hey, we've known each other for a few years and I know how amazing you are. I've read your book and we published it about a year ago, The Power Shift, and it's time for it now. Elle, do you feel it?
Yeah, I really do. I actually, when I wrote this book, I remember telling you I couldn't help but get up every morning at 5 in the morning and just write. I had no idea why I was moved in that way, but I was just following that tiny little bit in me that just kept saying, you know, write, get up. And it was so easy to do. Like, it was the easiest thing. It wasn't for the editor, for Natasha, because I was a real heart writer. But it just kept flowing. It wouldn't stop. And so I think that for me, I wrote it, we published it, and I really had no idea what it was for, even though it got, did really, really well. And I had people reading it everywhere and sending me the most beautiful reviews and thanking me. But I still didn't know what it was for. And when, I think when everything happened from a worldly perspective recently, and I just had this sense in me, it was all about the timing. And I thought, wow, I just kind of knew, it's just move with that right now. And
But just as you answered the call to write it, you're now answering the call to get it out into the world, because that takes energy. And I have to admit, on release day, you were the fastest author I've ever had to get to #1 on Amazon. You were the fastest one. You were there before we even really launched.
Wow, that's amazing. No, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Fantastic. That's so wonderful to hear. Like, I think women are really, and I mean, this book isn't just for women, and I know a lot of men have read it, because a lot of husbands of wives that have read it, I mean, they may not be picking it up, because it really is for woman to woman. But it doesn't mean that a man can't read it, as I said. But yeah, it really amazes me how thirsty women are to really reclaim their power. But the whole point is that I don't know that we know how, and I think we've made so many of us don't know how, and we've made so many mistakes over the centuries trying to sort of find it. And I think that with the power shift, it just gives so much clarity, and it's a little confronting, I think, too, for people, because it's kind of, but I think when you're prepared to sort of take your power back, or even like you've never lost it really, but to learn how to use it in a way where you are using it in a really honest and beautiful way. Yeah, it's kind of really beautiful, isn't it?
Well, it is a beautiful thing, and that's the thing, that the biggest things that we will do in our life will feel a little unsettling and kind of feel like the ground's coming from underneath us. But when we embrace it and have the courage and embrace the power that's in that, then we can evolve into a better version of ourselves, a higher vibration. Do you believe that?
Well, I think that for me, the word ascension is coming up lately. And I, in my mentoring program last year, I brought out the black line, kind of a whole teaching around the black line, above the black line, below the black line. And of course, I brought the power shift into that. And I'm just about to release a course completely about that, and of course the power shift sort of in that as well, and just to make it real in our lives, because you can read a book, but to make it real is another thing. So ascension for me is a word that just keeps coming up, and it's kind of ascending above the black line, and we've lived below that black line for so long, and we keep defaulting back to it. And so for me, I don't know why. I absolutely believe what you're saying, yes. So my answer to your question is yes. And I also believe that one of the things for women especially that we need to be really mindful of is the misunderstanding that we have around our personal judgment of ourselves, our self-judgments. And so I also put together the 4 phases of transformation last year. And I think that it's something that women really need. I'll even go as far as to say they need it, so that we can step away from that inner critic, that inner judge, not to be afraid of it. You know, I don't think we need to run from anything. We're so powerful. We're just such divine beings that are so incredibly powerful. But just that we have an understanding, and we can move differently because of that. We don't even really need the understanding, but I really believe that it's so lovely to have it, and to go, oh, okay, oh, that's what's happening to me right now. Because for me, when I first began transforming, I didn't have anything. You know, I was thrown into having to figure it out, you know. And
I'm a great believer in that. Knowledge is power, and because when you have the knowledge and the understanding around why certain things happen, then there's no fear associated with it, because you know what's happening, and you can then embrace the transformation or the journey that you need to take through it, but without being fearful. Do you agree?
Yeah, I think so. And I think that when we really understand what our true purpose here is, that was a big one for me. I was so lost, you know, and I think that I love the fact that my life pre my transformation, inward transformation I'm talking about, not my external, but then that influenced the external. So my destiny kind of shifted around and changed. But I love that that I had been through so much stuff, you know. I wasn't evolving. I was closed off, shut down, and I think that it gives you incredible empathy for others, you know, like who are going through the same kind of challenges, difficulties. It's like, how can you judge another person? You've been there, you've done it.
Yeah.
So I love the whole idea of understanding why we're here, and that was a massive one for me. I really got to a point when I just didn't know. I hit this wall where I had no idea what I was doing here. I didn't know what I believed. I knew what I didn't believe, but I had no idea of what this life was for. And I had to get to that so that I could ask, you know, and I've had some pretty miraculous things occur to me in my life. And I feel like when I look back, you know, when you look back, I'm sure you're the same, Karen, you look back in hindsight and you think, like, what was that about, you know? And we look at these miraculous times and we think that they're kind of special, but, you know, in some way when I look at them, I think that's just us coming from our true nature. We're coming from our true nature, and all of a sudden we're unfolding this our life unfolds, and all of a sudden we call it a miracle. And in a recent video I did, I called it like the holy, and with a WHOLLY, holy instant. And I know that A Course in Miracles, which is a text that I really loved and spent some time reading, and I really love this text. I don't know if you've heard of it. Have you heard of it?
Yeah.
And there's lots of different versions of it, and you know, so and I always think it's the student, it's never the book, and it's never the teacher. It always comes back to the integrity of the student and the honesty of the student. But it talks about the holy instant, but as in like holy, HOLY. But I kind of think about it as a WHOLLY, because it's about wholeness, it's about unity, it's about oneness, and it's in that instant when, you know, you are being so aligned and so true and real. And of course this happens all above the black line, so we have to understand the difference, you know, and then we start to realize, what are we doing here? What is our true purpose? You know, why are we living? What can isolation do to us? What can others do to us? What can lockdown do to us? Like, we start to actually really explore our inner world, and I love that.
Yeah, and how timely, you know, for what the world's going through now. Like, it's a lot about perspective of how we embrace it, and I believe that it is a time for us to power shift. And you know, within your book, Elle, you talk about 5 principles,
yes,
of power shifting. Can you share about those with us, please?
Well, you know, I think that for me, a lot of my life and a lot of the the challenges that I've had personally have been around relationships. So one of them was really, you know, if we don't understand love, and I mean not Hollywood love, but I mean real love, you know, and we don't, we've got that as a misunderstanding, you know, which for me I had from, you know, decades of my life. That's a pretty big problem, you know. So when I wrote The Power Shift, it just became clear to me I wanted to make it something that was actionable, something that, a book where someone could look at a principle and go, oh, I'm in the false principle. Okay, that's all that's happening. You know, it's not like, oh, I'm a bad person, or I'm not enough, or I'm not good enough, or I'm, you know, it was kind of like really removing a lot of the misunderstandings that we've layered our experience with, and that, you know, we just constantly are believing in. And I wanted to speak about just 5. That's all that came to me. And the first one being about, you know, what we actually are, and that this isn't about this isn't behavioral. You know, it isn't about changing our behavior to be better, be a better person, or be a better woman, because that's not where it is. You know, that's not where the truth lives. And for me, I just, like in my life, I have to continue to remind myself of that. It's not behavioral. You know, you're not going to be a good girl and then everything's going to be okay. It's not about that. It's really about the core essence of your belief. Like, what do you actually believe that you are? So the principles, when I wrote them, you know, were really aligned with that, with just clearly with remembrance more than learning. That was very strong for me. And over the last few months, again, the word ascension, the word remembering, it's not about learning as much, I believe, as it is about remembering what we are really. And then we just make our way back home. We just keep, you know, taking ourselves back home through real principles, true principles, not the false ones. Because below that black line are all the false principles. That's where fear, where lack live. And it's got a whole set of principles. And if we're going to live according to those false principles, we will suffer the consequences of that, not because we are bad, you know, not because we're not enough, not because we're not good enough, not because we need fixing. You know, this is the whole theory of, you know, you need to be fixed, or you need to be better, or it's like you're perfect love, you know, you're perfect, you're a source of infinite power, like you are power moving, like you don't need to fix yourself. It doesn't make sense to me, you know, like I hear that and I just kind of think, well, what part of that needs fixing? It's perfection.
Yeah, I love that. Love shines through your words, and you start the book with higher love, which is so it sets the scene for the book. I absolutely love it. It's like a poem, isn't it?
Yeah.
Very special. It's very special indeed, and it just says the intent. And you really just want everybody to embrace the power that is within them and honor it, and just hold it tight and channel it through love. Really.
Well, yeah, that's so beautiful, Karen, what you just said. And I think for me, it's kind of like I have to be really honest. Like the last few years since the Power Shift, for me, I've gone through so much internally about what it was for. And last year, my beautiful community, because you obviously are aware I have True Brown, that's my brand, and I educate and I created and brought into the world and all the rest of that, which is so beautiful. They must have been thinking, what is Elle doing? Like she's just doing all these things. But I was really in a space where I was figuring out, I was like moving in a way where I was thinking, what am I actually doing? You know, where is my heart taking me? Where am I being drawn? And I kind of, for me, I take every word I say so, I don't want to say seriously, because there's a lovely lightness to evolution, and you know, so I will say the word seriously. In other words, it's meaningful to me. I don't want to just blab out words. I don't want to just say something just for the sake of saying it. I really, if someone else is going to experience the vibration of my words, I really want that to be true and real. Like I just take that seriously. I take responsibility, you know, and so I knew there was a timing to the power shift. I didn't know what it was about, and yet I was still inwardly exploring where was I moving with it. And so I think that I don't know that I want anyone to do anything. I actually really, I think with this kind of thing, it's almost like, and I know it's just a word, but it kind of like, I don't want them to do it. I want to invite people to consider there's another way to be here, and that they did come for a truer purpose than what they think. And that if they feel drawn, if they feel like a movement within, something that just says to them, you know what, that's call, you know, that's a call for me, like something in me is saying, let me take a look at that. What's this about? Like, what is she talking about? Then I think it's beautiful. And I think that it does take something to let go of all of our false principles and beliefs, because we're so heavily identified and have been for so long with, you know, these misunderstandings, that it feels like we're losing a part of ourselves, even if that part makes us suffer, even if that part keeps us needing fear, to feel weak, to feel powerless. It's almost to become like a part of who and what we are to ourselves. Others, it's funny, others don't see us like that a lot of the time. It's amazing do you ever find that people see you completely differently to the way that you see yourself? And it's kind of like, what's that about, right? That's really weird. I don't see myself like that. But it really is, I think, about, it has to be an invitation. And one of my teachers who I am like floored by, and I've had some beautiful mentors and human beings that I've loved their work, and he always says that it's an invitation. And I think that for me, I want to respectfully use that word, and respectfully to him, use that word, and because I really, when he says that, it touches me so deeply. Like, I'm so deeply touched by it, because in the world, there's always people trying to tell us what to think, tell us what to do, you know, as if it's kind of a bit like that. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like when someone invites you, it's like, whoa, yeah, I'm coming. Like, I want to go in there. I want to go down that, you know, down there and take a look, because you can always pop back out. You know, it's not a forceful thing. It's just an invitation. And so I
go on an adventure really within yourself.
Pardon?
An invitation to go on an adventure within yourself. And it's amazing what kind of hidden gems are there to discover, really, isn't it? And anyone who goes in pursuit of adventure needs a little bit of courage. And that's the thing. And whenever people read books like yours, you're giving us the tools we need to go on that adventure. You know, like being able, to be able to think of the principles as the higher principles above the line, and the false principles below. It's an easy concept to think of and to connect with. And so you simplify it and help us, and we're able to digest those principles so much more easier. So, and that's why I really believe that this book is a gift to the world, because it acts like a bridge to there, across that divide that's there between people living a life below the line and then walking across to the bridge to the higher vibration.
Beautiful. You know, it's almost like, you know, we don't realize, but we have such a split. You know, we do it to ourselves. You know, and again, it's just through misunderstanding, and you know, we could go into other reasons why I might believe that we separate ourselves from our, you know, our core infinite power and our, you know, being that infinite love that we are. There's lots of, you know, theories, and we could sit and talk about that, and we could come to some conclusion. But for me, it's kind of like, it doesn't matter. You know, it's kind of more direct. It's like, don't look back, you know, stop it. Just stop doing that. You know, just, you don't have to do that. Like, we don't have to go back and fix everything. the invitation really is to move into, you know, like I guess in a way, the structure that you're talking about, I've had to put it together, because for me, it was a little bit different, you know, it was kind of almost like, I was just diving into my inner world, and I was just asking for help from something I had no understanding whatsoever. I was like this like blank canvas, and it was fascinating. It was fascinating to have, you know, like such a pure voice like speak back to me, and to have this connection that I created, or that I believed. I just believed in it, because it had this resonance to it that was, it was just so pure, and I just kept believing it. I thought I'd never heard such a purity, you know, and I just kept believing and kept being quiet and still. And then I'd, you know, get up and I'd be with my children as a single mother, and I'd make all these mistakes, and I, you know, the split would come up, and then, so, you know, I've been through all of it. and I think that I'm so grateful for that, because it really allowed me to just love people in such a way where it's kind of like, gosh, just come and just put your, just lay here, you know, just put your head here. It's okay.
We're human though, Elle, aren't we? We are human, and that's all part of being human, is to, right, you know, to fall and get up and move on and grow and things like that. But whenever you go to the higher vibrations, and you're able to connect with those higher vibrations and get a snippet of that golden essence that's waiting there for you in life, we want everyone to feel that, don't we? And that's why we both do the work that we do, is to help people find that within themselves, because when they do, there's no going back from that.
Yes, I think that, you know, when women come forward, and then, you know, like I really believe in the feminine right now is just, I mean, it's available for man and woman, I believe. I don't believe that it's just for women. Like it's like we're coming together, you know, we really are coming together. And I my sense is that what's occurring in the universe right now is just exponential love. Like that's my experience. Yesterday I had this amazing experience of that, of just pouring into, you know, streaming in here onto our planet. And that, you know, I listened to this beautiful talk that I put into the group that I have, which is the Power Shift, of this Aboriginal prophecy from the grandmothers. And I was so moved and so touched by what they were saying about, forget the virus and the worldly stuff, but what's happening on the planet, in the universe right now, is an absolute prophecy. And that's just one, you know, that's the Aboriginal tribe. There's so many other people speaking about this right now, but not from a new age kind of religion kind of side of things.
Yeah.
It's just so clean, and it's like, this is inevitable. The world, you know, the planet is a female planet. If we think about that, Mother Earth is a feminine planet. So the feminine can now ascend, but how she ascends does matter.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's not power, take your power and be tough and, you know, go out there and just like, you know, make sure that everyone does the right thing and all that. Yeah. I just want to be clear. It's not that, you know, and it's not feminism, whatever that means. I don't even know these words, you know, whatever. What does that mean? I don't know. That's not what we're speaking about. We're speaking about the ascension of the feminine, and how this happens, I'll say it again, matters. You know, it matters because, you know, we have to make a decision inside of ourselves that we are done suffering. We're done believing the lies. We're done. And that we as the feminine, as women, you know, we have power, and we're moving it all the time, and we're the mothers of the universe. We are the mothers of this planet. Even if we haven't had children, we're mothering something or someone, or, you know, it's kind of like it's kind of standing tall, really, and standing up and waking up in the midst of that, and doing a lot more listening, staying a lot more quiet. And I think that's the first thing, you know, like it's almost like connecting with the planet, like the beingness of this planet. There's a beingness. This planet has a beingness.
And don't you agree? It's the love as well. You know, the love that
Yes.
can just heal things, you know, and that's, you've been talking
Yes.
about Mother Earth. Like, as a mother, you know, our kids heal through our love. You know, people who do their gardens, their flowers grow because of the love they put into the soil, and have, you know, and it you can feel it starting to ripple across, and you know, it's and even self-love. You know, if we take care of ourselves as well, then we can show up in the best version of ourselves for others. It's not all about sacrificing every single part of yourself, and you know, it's about showing. I know for me personally, I have 6 children, so I show them how I can take care of myself and show up the best version of me, so that they have the tools and they learn from me, so that they can then go out and do the same in life for themselves and for others as well.
I love that. I love that.
And that's fueled through love, and a lot of things are being fueled through love right now, which I love to see.
I love that, and it's what you're saying, what I'm hearing when I'm listening to you, is that you are demonstrating to them how love moves, and love moves differently. And we're not talking, I just want to be clear, and I say this in the Power Shift because this is a big deal, because it doesn't matter what book you read, it doesn't matter what teacher you sit before, it doesn't matter if you're in front of a self-realized saint or a sage or a, you know, anyone, any teacher that you sit in front of. You could read, you know, there's teachers on this planet like everywhere, and some of them are extraordinary, you know, but it just, the point is, it's just like when you're there, you can, what you hear has to go through all these filters. So for me, it's kind of like, that's what one student can sit in front, and I say student, but one human being can sit in front of a teacher and get a completely different sense of what that teacher is saying. It's like A Course in Miracles, that's another, you know, A Course in Miracles goes as far as to say the world isn't even real, right? It's kind of like, oh, okay, all right, what are we doing here? And you'll find that a lot of the teachers that teach A Course in Miracles will never speak about that. Yeah. They never go there, because, you know, like if they said that, people would think they were crazy, right? Yeah. But that text is so beautiful, but it's had so many versions. You know, so many
perspective, isn't it? A lot of people.
Yes, they take it. Yeah. Correct, and they do all kinds of things with it. So for me, the word love, coming back to that, the word love, it's almost like, what is infinite love with a capital L? Like, we have had love completely, the meaning of the word love, absolutely distorted in this world. Totally. We have songs, lyrics to songs our children hear over and over and over that are so steeped in false principles about this, you know, this love. And then we have movies where it's distorted, and our children and we ourselves, you know, we're looking for the knight in shining armor. We don't realize that love is about, you know, it's about our belief. Like, we can't, if I say to someone, you are infinite love, you are love, you are power, they look at me as if I've lost my mind, you know.
And why? You know, why can we not all be that for ourselves?
Well, because we have so much investment. We've invested so much in the opposite, in believing the opposite. You know, we've invested so much in this, you know, self kind of, we're identified with something other than what we actually are. And it's, you know, this is the beautiful part though that I love so much, is like, we really have come through, as we come through as these, if you look at a baby, and you would know, you've got 6 of them, you're like, you're duck. So you've got all these children, and you look at your baby, and your baby is just beaming. Your baby is, you know, it's just what we actually all are. Like, we all were babies once upon a time. So it's not like that's gone. It's just that we've layered it, layer upon layer upon layer of false beliefs, false principles, because we believe in our experiences. We believe that our experiences define us. We believe that our thoughts define us. And when we come into the world and we come in and we actually have our ancestral programs, you know, we have like these software programs that are downloaded into us by our parents. They had them downloaded down into them, and so on and so on. And it's only when one person, and I want to just be bold enough to say one woman, for example, because we're talking about women, one woman decides, I might examine this download and I might just take a look. And, you know, then there is this this remembering and kind of you're going kind of backwards and
unraveling, isn't it?
And it's like all of a sudden you get these glimpses, these cracks start to happen where what you actually are starts to just seep through in one way or another. I mean, that's what happened for me.
Yeah.
And I can't honestly say that I am free of my programming. I can't say that because, you know, I still, if something happens, I could still feel offended, or it might not last as long. It might not hold as tightly as it held before, but, you know, we are all in this, and it's so beautiful to see that and to be real. And I've never said it like I'm a realized master or, you know, some sort of awakened. I've had so many awakenings, I could probably write another book about those, but it's not about that either. You can be awakened so many times, but that doesn't mean that you've gone in and assimilated all of what needs assimilating, which is
all. Are we not all works of progress? You know, we all.
Yes, it is like that, isn't it? Really.
Even any of the big teachers in history were all works in progress, right up until the day they died. You know, that's the thing. It's just that we all, you know, embrace different elements and show up in different ways, isn't it?
I think for me, like I have to just say to this, I've had the honor and the privilege of meeting some of the purest beings that are gracing and have graced this planet. And I have to say that maybe that's another interview actually. I have to say that that there is just on this planet right now, there are, you know, we are so lucky. We are here right now at the most extraordinary time to be on this planet. If we just looked around at what is being presented and what we're being invited into, it is just out of this world. Like it's unimaginable. And, you know, so for me, I still can get stuck, and at times I used to get stuck for a very long time. Like I don't get stuck for that long anymore. And I think that, you know, I might get stuck for a minute or 5 minutes, or if, you know, whatever, but I'm always coming back to what I'm knowing inside of myself, and what, like, because you have to, even if you don't 100% believe it, you know, that you are love, that is your pure essence, you know, that is pre all the other layers and all the beliefs, and that you are power moving, you know, like that's what you're doing. You're moving your power constantly. Even if you don't, you know, you just, there's kind of like a little vibration, a frequency inside of your cells that just when it hears that, it lights up. You know, it's kind of like, it just lights up a little bit, and it's like, could that be true? Or you don't even have a thought assigned to it. You know, it's just like, it's a response from, because it's true, right? You're having a response. Something so beautiful about that. You know, there's something so magical about just being in that and not doing anything with it, just being in that yes.
Yes, I say yes to that, Elle Wilson, because that is true essence there, just that thought and that to sit in that moment. And that's why you are a beautiful teacher, and that's why, have you got the power shift there? That's why this book needs to reach so many people, because You have it here. This is the power shift. It's beautiful. The essence of it is beautiful, and the message is so important because these 5 principles are just so invaluable to what's happening right now in the world. And that's why you're called to share it at this level now.
Thanks, Karen. I really want to add that, we did speak about this, about doing a workbook for it. I think at one point, didn't we, that we were going to do a workbook, but I decided that what I'm going to do is a online course. Yes. But I'm not going to just do a course where I just give people videos and whatever. I really want it to be interactive. So I've decided to launch the Power Shift course, which is, it's a 12-week program. And it really, I'm excited because it's about being with me twice a week and really working through the themes, issues that we're, how to bring the power shift into our daily life. And I don't know that can be done in just a workbook. It needs the realness of having those live chats and really answering questions and I think that's really important. So that's coming. So the website's about to be launched, and that will be in the website, and I'll give you that when it's all done. It's nearly done. I'm really excited about it, and lots of free training, like free gifts. I'm just in the process of putting together a guide on the three beliefs. And is it beliefs? I can't even remember now. I've got so much that I'm doing right now that really absolutely destroy our relationships, and the 3 things that we can stop. And then I think there's a couple of other really great things in there that people can access just to, sometimes people just want to like dip their toe a little bit, they just want to feel into it. We're not talking about, a new dress or a new course you can do and then you just throw it out and go, yeah, that was okay. We're talking about their life. We're talking about what they're here for. We're talking about something so, like, it's a big deal. People, it's like, unless you're ready, you're not ready, and it's okay. Do it next time you come around, whatever. But it's really something so beautiful and so precious. And I think because of what's happening right now on the planet, and I'm not talking about the Earth, I'm talking more about the Aboriginal prophecies. It's not really about, the virus. I mean, we're always going to have things like that, right? It really is about what is present, what is available, what's coming to our planet, and was inevitable, I love this interview. I actually almost want to give it to you for you to share with your people, because it was so sweet, so beautiful, so real. But anyway, and that's just one, just one aspect of what one tribe of the elders is talking about. We have, like other teachers, as I said before, so many of them talking about this. I think it's important because the world will polarize. You're either below or you're above, and what you were saying earlier, which I loved, which the bridge you were speaking about. I never thought of it like that. That's so delightful.
And you're going to actually hold people's hands to walk across that bridge. And that's what I love. Like, you're not just going to video a load of things and just deliver them. You're actually going to be present, connecting and helping people on their journey. That's huge. That's huge in your course. People don't do it that way anymore. And you're going to do that and show up for everyone that shows up for your course. That's just
I actually am going to do that. Yes. I think that's important. I think that's because we're talking about real time things that are occurring, and I know that when I look back at my journey, and I just look at the people that supported me, helped me, the people that the beautiful inner circle of people that, I'm so blessed to have in my world. And I think to myself, wow, we need that inner circle. We need that those people that will tell us the truth. They're going to tell us straight. They're not going to pretend. But they're always going to have our best interests at heart. They're always going to do it for love. They're always going to do it because deep down they know that we've said that yes. And that yes is You know, it's like the plants are saying that yes right now. You know, the Mother Earth is saying yes. So she's waking up, and it's just divine. And it's so beautiful, you know, that this is really happening for us and that we're here. So yeah, it's really kind of very beautiful. Can I share my first phone call with you? I want to share it. Can I? So when the first, everybody, let me share this with you, because it's so lovely. Someone had actually mentioned, I was at a huge one of a really, really big True Brow masterclass that we did. It was an advanced masterclass, and it was up in a really big, we had to run it in a big, massive sort of hall and so on. And someone asked me about my book, because my girls knew I was writing the book. How's the book going? I said, oh, I finished it. I'm looking for a publisher. And a woman lying, it was a model for True Brow, was lying on the bed, and she sat up and she said, Elle, and I said, yes. And she said to me, I have the perfect publisher for you. And I said, oh, really? I said, oh, that's lovely. I said, she said, I'll give you her name. And I said, oh, okay, thanks. And I remember calling you, Karen, and we spoke on the phone. And when I got off, I actually just sobbed. And the love of you, and I was just overcome with love. And Toby, my husband, for those of you that may not know, who I work with, and it's beautiful, just sat there and was just looking at me, and I said, I don't know why I'm crying. And it had nothing to do with the book. It was just this almost like I knew you, and then we started talking about my fairy stories and the fairies. And that just absolutely threw me, because I have written my fairy stories that I haven't published yet. That's the thing to come.
That's another.
And I just felt like I was speaking to someone that I'd known for so long, not here, but the connection, and I think it was just that recognition of love between us. It was just so beautiful. So I had a big sob. And then I was great. And I thought, right, that's her. She's the one that's going to publish this book. That was so clear. But it was so beautiful, like that instant kind of like just this recognition of just love. And
that's the thing, is I always feel that connection. That's why I know, I really want to work with that person or that person, because I just feel that connection. And I felt that 100% with you. And I love that, like, even though we've both been busy in doing our things, and then we just come together, and it's as if we, just as if we're just, and getting on with it again from where we left off. And I love that. Those kind of connections are treasured connections in life.
Yes, I agree. And I have many friends like that too. We're so busy, and our lives feel that they're so disconnected, but the threads that hold us are so real and so true. We all of a sudden work together, or we chat, and it's as if we were chatting yesterday. It's so beautiful, because it's real. Yeah, it's really, really beautiful.
It is beautiful, for sure. Thank you so much for chatting, Elle. I think that everybody's got so much out of this conversation, and will be rushing to buy the Power Shift. And I strongly recommend that everyone signs up for your course. It's going to be transformational. It truly is.
Thank you. I'd love to invite everyone to come across to the Power Shift in Facebook too. It's a group. I go on there live nearly every day in the morning, and people can ask questions. I like to make myself as available as possible to you, so that you can be supported, especially during this time too, so that anyone can do that if they like. They're more than welcome to do that, and come and meet our community. It's growing every single day. It's amazing.
It is.
Thanks, Karen. Thank you so much. Thanks for everything, by the way. And it's so beautiful to be here and to be chatting with you. And I look forward to more. Why not, hey? Let's chat again sometime.
Yes, most definitely. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Elle.
Thanks, everyone. Bye now.